Hi everyone, it's Gods Enchantments here and welcome to Thursday's Wisdom from the Cauldron. So today I'm going to be talking about spells versus rituals. Is there a difference? What's the difference? I get a lot of questions about the two terms. Can they be used interchangeably? Does one mean something different? Is one more appropriate for specific types of workings? So it seemed like a really good topic to talk about today, especially as we just had the new moon. We're going to be working up now to the full moon. We've got the summer solstice coming. So you may be planning some rituals, some spellcraft for yourself. So what better time is there to go over it? So first of all, I am obviously going to talk from my personal experience and my path. My viewpoint on this is not necessarily going to be the same as yours, and it shouldn't be. If you have a different way of working, that's fine. You are not wrong, I'm not wrong. As I always say, you do you. But the thing that I have found over all my years on this path is my way of working seems to be very similar to a lot of the magical people that I'm friends with and that I have around me. I occasionally work with a local coven. I have friends that are on the pagan path, the Wiccan path, that relate to all different terms. And they seem to, because we've discussed this before, be along the same lines of agreement as me. So today I'm just going to talk a bit about how this is for me. If you have some different opinions or feel differently, please do comment below. Let's have a discussion about it with everyone, but keep your comments nice. So yes, you can absolutely use spell and ritual interchangeably. I see it a lot on the internet, particularly with new sellers. They'll tend to put spell and ritual in the title. A lot of the times sellers do this because it's good for keywords, so it helps things come up in search engines, but that doesn't necessarily help the customer or client who's looking for products because it's not very explanatory. Now, if they are the same thing for you and you just see spell and ritual as two words describing the same process, then that is great. For me, they are separate things. Now, when it comes to spells, I tend to see spells as quick and simple, everyday witchcraft or magic. They are if I don't have a lot of time, but I still want to do something magical. For example, last night we had the new moon in Gemini. Now, if I had been really busy throughout the day, not got back till late, but not wanted to miss the opportunity to both honour the new moon and work with the new moon to set my intentions, then one of my processes in those situations would be to take one of my new moon tea lights, take a piece of labradorite and a little bit of anointing oil, and then I would just make a very small sacred space for me where I'm at, create a little circle, and then I would use my tea light and my crystal and my oil to honour the new moon and set any intentions I have, then blow out that tea light and use it again at a later point when I need to use that kind of spell. So that's quick and simple and easy, and it's a way of doing magical workings that fit into busy daily life, so you're not always having to massively pre-plan and have the time. If you've got kids, if you work full-time, you've got a partner, you've got animals, you've got friends and like social responsibilities, then you can't always do something bigger. So that's where, for me, the term spells comes in quite handy. Usually they're anything from a couple of minutes to 15 minutes. I use spells for prayers, smaller intention settings. They can be quite spontaneous. So if I'm in the garden and I'm doing some work and I'm feeling very called to my mugwort plant, and there's something specific that I've been thinking about doing a working for, and that plant's kind of communing with me as I'm digging the earth around it and weeding it out, wanting to help, then I will take a few herbs myself as an offering, some dried ones from my offering herb mix, or I will take a crystal and use that as an offering to the plant, place it at the base of the plant, take just a couple of minutes to sit with that plant, create a little circle and work on that intention with the plant while it's living and while it's in my garden. Now that for me I would class as a spell, and it's quite spontaneous. I haven't had to go and get 10 tools, I haven't had to set up an altar or a huge working space. Now spells are also tongue-tied. Spells are also quite handy for emergencies. So if you have suddenly had a call and someone has fallen ill, or there's some kind of situation and you want to immediately be able to send them healing or love, or just kind thoughts to someone that's going through a specific situation, and it's needed there and then. Maybe you want to send someone some protection or some strength or some courage, then you can straight away sit down with absolutely no tools and do that there and then, or you can grab a simple white tea light or whatever tools you have around you on hand. It's something small, non-detailed, that's really, not a lot of thought and process has gone into, just something simple and blank that you can work around to send that energy, to send that healing right then and there. We haven't always got time to sit down and write a full ritual. That's why a lot of people buy my ritual kits for the Sabbats, for example, because they don't have time to write X amount of pages of ritual. So for me, that's what spells are. They're simple, they're quick, they're everyday magic. They're what allows you to practice even in the most busiest of times, to honour the full moon, to honour the new moon, to send healing really quickly, to bring in protection quickly, to work on prayers and intentions, send a quick prayer to a specific god or goddess, or to work with a plant energy. So that's how I see spells in my practice, and if you have been with me over the years, you will have seen that I will do like mini spell kits and things like that are for these kind of intentions, that are quick for you, that use just a few tools. Now rituals for me are completely different. Rituals are planned. They are usually for me 30 minutes plus. They may include an actual ritual as well as a meditation. It may include journey work and some ritual. So again, it's more planning. You need time that you can set aside, that you're going to be in privacy. These will be times when I will use tools. So I won't just have a candle that I've grabbed. I will have a very specific coloured candle. I will have oils wrapped in that candle or made in that candle, like a tin candle. Or this is my full moon candle, which is rolled with essential oils. There's biodegradable glitter on here. So these have been pre-planned and made ahead of time, any tools I need. I will have made an oil and a specific incense. I will have gathered several crystals for it. I may set up an actual altar with a statue or an image of a god or a goddess or an element that I'm planning to work with. I would do maybe a more formal circle casting. So instead of doing a visualization circle, which is the type I would usually use for a spell, although I do use that in ritual sometimes, but I may feel more called to get my wand out and to cast full circle around the entire room and create an entire container of the room I'm in and have a beautiful working space set up, turn the lights off, light the candles, do maybe the ritual bath or the ritual shower beforehand. So it's a whole process. a much more formal setup. Now, for me, the difference is, like I've said with spells, these are quick and simple to send prayers for smaller intentions or for things that you need to manifest quite quickly. But there are some things that are going to be longer standing intentions. If you are going to set up a prosperity altar within your home, then you're not going to want to do a one-off spell for that. You can do spells at your prosperity altar and do them regularly, but you're not going to do one prosperity spell and then never do a spell again. So I would have two routes to go with that. I could set up an altar and do regular smaller spells, or I can actually, which I prefer to do, is to set up a dedicated space and then do a ritual with a larger candle. It may be a jar candle, a tin candle, a pillar candle that's dedicated to the ritual, with all my tools that are on this altar, with maybe a picture of Lakshmi and one of Ganesh, or statues of both, and the correct, crystals, make a grid and do my ritual there. And then my candle I will continue to use. So with spells, I tend to use the smaller 5 or 10 centimeter beeswax candles that I sell, or the tea lights, because they burn quickly, and when I do spells I let those candles burn down completely all the way. Once that candle is extinguished, then that spell's energy is completely released. Now when you're working ritual, a lot of the time it's for a longer term intention, like always bringing prosperity to our home, always bringing prosperity to your business. So you want that candle to last. You want to be able to go back to that altar, to feed the altar, to feed the ritual that you have done. So you keep relighting that candle, you keep re-anointing that candle. You keep going back to your crystals and anointing them and redoing your grid maybe. So it's a much longer process. You have the initial ritual, which is a longer process where you're working with different deities. Maybe you're doing some mantra. If you get any of my subscription boxes, the ritual of the month always has a ritual in it. For example, the June ritual boxes, which are going out tomorrow, is healing through the 5 elements. So in there you have a candle for each of the 5 elements. You have an oil for each of the 5 elements. You have a crystal for each of the 5 elements. You have something in there specifically representing each of the elements. You're going to create sacred space, and your ritual is a ritual pack, as I call them. And in there is pages of ritual, so you need to set time aside for that. Your ingredients will not be done with after the ritual, and it will be a working that you continue to do. So as you can see, it's a much more detailed and takes up time. It's what I like to do for the Sabbats, for example, unless obviously if I'm not too well or something's happened that, I've had times where a Sabbat's come along and a family member's fallen ill and I've had to go and take care of them, then I can't do a full Sabbat ritual, which is my normal practice. Then I would do a quick spell so that I'm just honoring that energy and I'm calling in what I need from that energy of that Sabbat, but it's only going to take me 5 to 15 minutes, whereas my ritual would have took me much longer, and I'll continue working with those tools. So we have the solstice coming up. That for me would be a time of doing ritual. If you were ill with the flu, that I would class as a time to do a spell. So you may make a beautiful bath tea with healing herbs, or you maybe put a little bit of eucalyptus essential oil or lavender essential oil into your bath and light a white tea light candle. Get in and just do a mini spell while you're in there, calling in healing energies for the flu that you have. But you wouldn't want to do a massive long at your altar ritual for a spell. It doesn't need that. It doesn't need that amount of energy. You don't have that amount of energy to put in because you're ill with the flu. So rituals are much more involved energetically as well. Spells are very powerful and very potent, but they're a way for you to raise energy quickly and release it for smaller intentions or quick needs. But for me, rituals are when I'm really working on manifesting something big. If you want to start a brand new business, if you want to move from your current house, sell this house, get a new house that's an upgrade from your current one, these are going to be longer standing rituals because you need to keep that energy raised. You need to put more of your energy, more of yourself into it, because at the end of the day, magic and ritual spellcraft, however you want to name it, needs you. It needs your intention, and it takes a lot of energy from you to put into that to manifest it. It's not making a wish. Some people who don't practice magic, who aren't from this kind of spiritual path, will be like, well, aren't you just lighting a candle and making a wish? No. When you light a candle and you quickly make a wish, like on your birthday cake is a great example. And I don't know, when you were a kid, you lit the candle and you wished for a puppy and then you blew it out. Chances are, unless you were already going to get it, you didn't get the puppy because there was no energy behind that. You hadn't created a sacred container. You hadn't put much more thought into it than in that moment, I want a puppy. That is a wish. When you're actually working spellcraft and ritual work, you are layering energy from the tools you're using. So our essential oils, our crystals, our candles, our colour magic, our incenses, our resins, even in a small spell, if you're using no tools other than a white tea light candle, you're not making a wish over that candle for less than 5 seconds. You are taking your time and raising energy for the intention. Then you'll blow out your candle or let your candle burn down. Like I say, for spells, I usually let the candle burn down. For ritual, I'll usually blow the candle out or snuff it, depending on your belief. Some people believe if you blow a candle out, that you are extinguishing the energy that you've put in there, so you should snuff it. Other people believe that when you blow a candle out, you're actually helping that intention, that energy that you have raised to go out into the universe. So that's a real personal thing, different topic, but you know, we've slightly gone off topic there. So you really have to think how you think about spellcraft and ritual work. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. If you use the names interchangeably, you're not wrong. It's just, at the end of the day, they're just words. You're still doing the same thing, whether you're using a quick method of magic or a longer method of magic. You're still working your intentions. You're still creating that container and raising that energy. So we get very much caught up on labeling things. You don't have to label, I'm doing spells over here and rituals over there. But I just thought I would share really my perspective of how I use those two words, because I do use them to differentiate really for myself. It's just something that developed when I was really young. And it turns out a lot of people I've spoken to have a similar viewpoint to me on what spellcraft and ritual are. But like I say, no one is wrong when it comes to this. If you feel differently, that's great. If this has given you something to think about and you're like, actually, I've kind of been doing that myself, so maybe I'll differentiate with that spell work and this is ritual work. Maybe you're thinking, oh my God, what is this woman going on about? It's all the same. it's all great, it's all wonderful, it's all magic. So that's it from me and wisdom from the Cauldron. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you've not already, click the bell so you know when the next video goes up, and come over and visit the Facebook or the website. A giveaway's coming soon because we're about to reach 2,000 subscribers. Woo! So blessed be.